She's a winner.
And welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where you take enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics in the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. And here's your host, Miss Carol Boston.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where we say, sometimes we don't feel very intuitive. That's why we bring on great guests to help us with those kind of things. Those of you who follow me know I'm your weather girl. When you comment, let me know what the weather's like where you are and where you're chiming in from. It is a freaking gorgeous day here in sunny South Florida. It is about 76 degrees, low humidity, and breezy, which is why all the Canadians are here, right? Oh, my goodness. You know what time of year it is by all the different license plates that are here. Who was here last week? Before we hop on and talk to our guest today, who was here last week? And how many of you attended the conference over the weekend? I had a tremendous opportunity to be the hot seat coach at a conference, and I wrote a post on LinkedIn about lessons learned. There's Ellen. Hello, Ellen. Welcome. I'm excited to have Erin here as a participant too. She knows I love dialogue. She follows me, and she has a lot in common with our guest, which is one of the reasons I invited her. Going to be a cool conversation. Real quick though, last weekend, I was really honored to be the hot seat coach at a conference. And I did write a post about it on LinkedIn about lessons learned from being a hot seat coach. And one of the things I've learned, and Brandy, you'll hear me talk about how I'm learning to even see if I have an intuition or trust my intuition, is that I'm really, really good at getting people into action very quickly. And I'm really good at uncovering the unseen and the unknown. Now, maybe that's a little psychic and maybe it's not. All right, everybody. Today we've got a psychic medium here. I'm so excited about this because, you know, this has been a whole new world for me in the last couple of years. And, oh, look who else is here. Hello, Miss Kathleen Tyner. Glad to have you here. I know it's got to be gorgeous out in California. Let us know. Brandy, come on, say hello. Tell us where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like where you are.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. So I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it is very cold here. It's like 37 degrees.
Wait, how far are you from Phoenixville?
Oh, I'm only about maybe 30 minutes or so.
Oh, cool. Got some good friends up in Phoenixville. Y'all had a little bit of snow, didn't you?
Yeah, but it like melted so quickly, so it's all gone now. Thank goodness.
Oh, Kathleen says, hey, Erin. And Erin says, welcome, Brandy. Erin is a light worker, so I'm excited. She's gonna, maybe y'all can have some good conversation, and I can learn quite a few different things. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what brought you here today, and we'll jump into the conversation.
Sure. So again, my name's Brandy Van, and I'm a psychic medium, but I'm also a mentor. So I'm helping people to develop their psychic intuition and their psychic gifts, because it surprises me that like there are no coaches or mentors for this. It's just like any other skill. If you have an interest in it and you want to learn to develop it, it's way easier if you have a mentor to do that. So I know in my own journey, I had been seeing spirits since a very young age. I was hearing things and seeing things that other people weren't. And it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I had a profound spiritual experience that I really wanted to dive into my abilities. But then it was like, now what do I do, right? Like, where do I start? There's a ton of classes. Which one do I take? Do I read books? So I was taking a lot of classes, reading a lot of books, but nothing was developing my ability. So I actually quit. And then I had a friend who's a life coach, and she was like, maybe just look into something different. So finally I found a mentor. So now I'm like years into my journey and found a mentor, and I only worked with her maybe 6 hours over 6 months, and my abilities just skyrocketed. So now I want to do that for other people because there is a proven roadmap. I've taken it myself that can get you to be a successful psychic or medium. And now I want to share that with other people.
That is awesome. One of the things you'll learn about me, Brandy, is I love a dialogue, right? So we've got all kind of people chiming in. Oh my gosh, Mr. Ofuebo is here. I can't believe it. I haven't seen you in ages. He says, greetings. Are you still in London, sir? Let us know where you are. Aaron says we got roughly 8 inches of snow and still have snow here today. Of course, Kathleen says it's 63 and sunny in California. And Aaron says, awesome. I'm a psychic development mentor as well. I founded and operate the Lightworker Academy. You know, Brandy, it wasn't until I read about who you are and I went and looked at the website and everything. I wish I'd done it sooner. I'll be candid, and invited Aaron on. I think it'd be cool to have both y'all in a conversation together. And so maybe we can arrange that in the future. I know she does a lot of great things in the space of light worker. Now, something you just said, I thought psychic and medium were the same thing, but I thought I just heard you say psychic or a medium. What's the difference?
Sure. So a medium is someone who can talk to deceased loved ones or dead people, where a psychic is someone who has extrasensory perception. So they're able to, go to that extra sense, their intuition, that sixth sense, and really dive into that and how to make it work for their lives, how to make it work for others. But a medium, they're also psychic, but not all psychics are mediums, because not everyone can talk to a deceased loved one. So what I found in my experience is that it's just a gift that you have, whether you can talk to a deceased loved one or not. It's not really something that can be taught, but everyone has psychic abilities, and that's definitely something that can be taught.
So in the realm of psychic abilities, is it like being clairvoyant and audiovoyant?
Sure. So I am clairvoyant, meaning that I see images or visions, and I'm also clairaudient. I'm actually mainly clairaudient, so I mostly hear the messages. But yeah, other people are claircognizant, clairsentient, meaning they feel it or they just know it. And I describe the clairsenses as all kinds of sports. So you don't need to be good at all the sports. You just need to figure out which sport you're best at and then be really good at that one, because that means that spirit's communicating with you the best in that way. And that's when you want to run with it. You don't have to be good at all of them.
And did I hear you say correctly that you think everybody has one of these, or not everybody, just a lot of people?
Everyone is born with innate psychic abilities because we all have intuition, and that is our sixth sense or our psychic ability. So I actually have a fun free PDF on my website. So if your audience wants to go to that, I think that's really the first step, because a lot of people will be like, I'm not psychic, I don't have any of this. But it's really, if you don't know what to look out for, you don't realize that you're having them. So I made up a fun quiz that shows if you're having these experiences, then it will show you what your psychic experiences are. So let me ask you then, Carol, have you ever had like deja vu? Have you ever walked into a room and felt like someone was staring at you? You turn around, nobody's there. Like those type of things are psychic ones. Or maybe you thought of someone that you haven't thought of in a long time, and then you run into them later that day. These are just a few examples of your psychic experiences in action.
I think I can look back over my life and I mean, I can't pinpoint one right now. But yeah, I think of deja vu, like I've been here before. I've done this before. Maybe I thought I dreamed it before. Did I make this up? Kind of thing. Oh my goodness. And Erin says she'd love to do that, so we can talk about putting on a show together. The three of us, that would be really cool. Ike says, I'm still in the United Kingdom. I'm enjoying the conversation. So good to have you here. And Erin said, not all psychics are a medium. All mediums are psychic. Interesting. Erin said, or thinking of someone and they call.
Yes. Yep. So that's telepathy whenever you do that. Yep.
Man, y'all got me thinking.
Good.
Oh my goodness. So tell me, what is your favorite thing that you do? If you have multiple things, in other words, you play multiple sports in this arena. Let me tell you why I'm asking. So how I actually even have this show is from Max and Janetta Jones. And when I first met Max was right after COVID. I had never been online. I didn't want to be online. I didn't know how to grow my business online. I'm like, oh my God. And I don't know how Max and I first connected, but she said, let's hop on a Zoom call. And so we did. So I had actually fired a couple of clients right at the beginning of COVID. I lost some clients because they couldn't pay me. So I was in this whole reinvention kind of thing. And I don't know Max from Adam. And she gets on this Zoom with me and we're chatting and she goes, well, you know why you don't have very many clients right now, Carol? And I looked at her and I said, I didn't tell you that I don't have very many clients. She starts laughing. She goes, oh, didn't I tell you I'm clairvoyant? I'm like, what? So she's like, I call them all the voyants, right? So I call it audio voyant. I think you called it clairaudient. Is that the same
Yes.
thing?
Yeah, it's all the Claires. Yes, all the
Right.
Claires.
And so I kind of took this for a grain of salt or whatever. So about a month or two later, we're having another Zoom conversation. And she says, Carol, you're really going to have to give up your love of only having one-on-one clients. And I said, I didn't tell you that I only have one-on-one clients. She rolls her eyes at me. Didn't I tell you I'm clairvoyant? Like, get it with it, Carol. She goes, you belong on big stages in front of a lot of people. So it's been really interesting to have this relationship with Max to learn. And then other cool people like Aaron have come into my life and now you through the power of the internet. So yeah, tell me what your favorite part about the whole thing is. Like, what really lights you up when you help somebody?
Oh my gosh. So what lights me up is whenever someone is kind of like you, like they're like, I don't know if I'm psychic. I think I might be. And then by the end of my program, their belief system completely changes. I just show them what they are capable of. I can show them what their mind is capable of, not just their physical body. And seeing that transformation, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So yeah, going from like self-doubt to complete trust, it really is my favorite thing to watch someone go through that, because it's not an easy process for sure.
I actually had a session with Aaron. I'm trying to remember, Aaron, if it was just 2 or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember. Quite interesting. So she gave me this exercise thing to do. And the word that I came up with was self-love. That was the word that came up for me, right? So she told me some things to do. And this was on a Monday afternoon. On a Tuesday, I had a Zoom with this guy, Coach Lee, who was our guest last week. And he was the one that invited me to be the hot seat coach on his conference, which was called Love Yourself First. It was like, oh my
Wow,
God.
that's awesome. What a synchronicity. Yes.
Really, really. That's why it'd be so cool to have both of y'all together. I don't know if I'm going to be the one. Kathleen says, the calling thing happens to me all the time. Both someone calling me that I've been thinking of and me calling someone else who was thinking of me. She goes, and I was just thinking of Erin last night and this morning, and there she is. Really, it is kind of interesting. So what would be for someone like myself, or, I know I'm not alone. You can put it in the comments for me, Kathleen. Yeah, you're not alone, Carol. Yana, you're not alone. What would be like one thing that we could, how can I say this? Like call into our awareness or pay attention to on a daily basis to see where we might have this gift?
Sure. So it's really being able to tune into that mind body connection. So if you ask your intuition a question, feeling it in your body, because as soon as your mind starts thinking, that's not your intuition, that's your mind. And we want to feel our intuition. So it's either, a tingling or a chill in your spine, maybe some butterflies in your stomach. I know my eye twitches, I get a tickle in my throat. So it's really figuring out what that is and practicing that every day so that you get used to that feeling. And then once you have that feeling, you really want to trust it and then act on what it tells you to do. So it's really a 4-step process. So first, you're going to ask the intuition a question. Then you're going to feel it in your body. And if it goes into that 5th second, your rational mind's in the way. So you only have 4 seconds to feel the answer. And that's your spirit telling you what it wants to do. And then you trust it and then you act on it. And then you start to see the changes in your life. Maybe you're making better decisions. You have less stress. Maybe you have more energy, or your life's just flowing easier. So when you live through your intuition, it's just an all around more authentic, better place to be in, because it's really how you truly want to be living versus like how society is trying to tell you how to live.
So one of the things you may not know about me is my background is ex-collegiate and professional tennis player. And I then spent 26 years as a sales expert for Fortune 100 companies. And so I'm getting ready to go through a 90-day coaching program to learn something that's new. It's patented. This lady was invited by the United Nations to come and teach this to the people. It's fascinating. So the acronym for it is BANK, B-A-N-K. And it stands for Blueprint, Action, Nurture, and Knowledge. Now, I'm going to tell you what little I know, and I've already told you more than I already know because they postponed the training to next month. But I'm an NB, Nurture First. I'm all about connection, relationship, that kind of thing. B is Blueprint. That's give me the plan. I want the overall structure. And then K is Knowledge. Well, K is in my 3rd position. So why am I telling you this? Because when I am under duress, that third position is what shows up for everybody, whatever that third letter is. So for me, if I'm under stress or duress, I immediately go to knowledge. What that means is emotion goes out the window. There is no emotion. It is about give me the facts, give me the figures, let's stick to the plan. So that's my natural go-to. So what would be something I could do when I'm trying to, what's the word? Ask my intuition or actually listen to it, and I immediately go into this stress mode.
Yeah, I mean, and that's everyone, right? Because think of our society. Ever since we were born, we were told to analyze, to critical think, to rationalize for logic. So it's very, once you get to the point of, I want to listen to my intuition, you do have that battle going on because you've been taught your whole entire life to listen to your mind and your brain. And now you're trying to switch it to listen to your intuition. So yeah, it's definitely a battle that everybody has. And so in that instance, I would, again, ask you to do that 4-step process and just see what comes up in those 4 seconds, because it is a very quick thing. It's going to happen in 4 seconds. And then sometimes, if you're going to go in front of a group of a ton of people, of course, you need to have the knowledge behind it. You don't want to make things up. You want to have that knowledge, but maybe the path in doing it, it could be the answer, so that's maybe something that you'd want to ask your intuition. But once you can learn to trust yourself, you start to trust everything more, the earth, the universe, nature. And so once you have that trust in yourself and your spirit guides and everything around you, you just start to build that confidence in yourself. And so now a little bit of the knowledge will go down and you'll start trusting yourself a little bit more. And that's really what it's all about. But yeah, it's definitely a battle. Anytime you have your inner critic, I always say to see it as a friend instead of an enemy. So if your inner critic is getting louder, that's when you really want to push through. It means you're getting that much closer to your goal. And so you don't want to give up now. You want to push even harder, because our inner critic is going to get louder because your rational mind wants to keep you safe. It doesn't want you to take risks. So the louder it gets, it means I'm getting that much closer. My rational mind is getting afraid. So push as hard as you can at that moment.
That brings up another question. Oh my goodness. Aaron says, congratulations, Carol. Thank you. And Kathleen says, LSU Tigers. Yes, I'm an LSU Fighting Tiger, even after all these decades.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Aaron and Kathleen, if you were down here in Florida and we were going to watch a football game, it wouldn't even matter if LSU wasn't on the TV. I would be drinking out of my LSU cup. I even take it to my friend's house.
That's awesome.
Oh, Aaron says, Carol, you actually teach a technique that is to tap into and listen to one's intuition under what else is possible. Oh, I never thought about that. I'm known as the queen of reframe. And what that means is I teach and train on empowering questions, how to get the answers that you really want.
Great.
And one of the most powerful of all empowering questions is what else is possible? What else is possible today? And one of the things I teach in empowering questions is your job is not to try to figure out the answer. Because, well, let me back up a second. My next book, and I know I keep saying I'm going to write this book, but my next book is going to be called You Can't Read the Label When You're Inside the Jar. And we're all in a jar. And what these questions do is they bring the answers into your jar that you're looking for that are sitting right outside of your jar, things you've never thought of before. So maybe perhaps I'm doing something and I don't even know. Aaron goes, of course you are. Kathleen says, of course. Oh man, how do you answer the question? I thought I've heard from my intuition before and I was wrong. I thought I heard from it and I was wrong. It's kind of like I have friends who say, well, I thought I heard from God and I went off on the wrong path. How would you address that?
Sure. Sorry about your puppies there.
No, puppies are fine.
So the same thing is that your rational mind could be wrong, right? So it doesn't mean that your rational mind is always right. You could have all the analytics, you could have all the facts, you could still go off of that, and your mind could still be wrong. So I feel like it's that same thing. It's, do I listen to my mind or my intuition, when they could both be right or they could both be wrong? So again, it's a matter of practicing to see if you can get it to be that right place. And let me ask you, what made you think that it was wrong? Because maybe it did get you to the right place, but your mind told you it was wrong. So my question back to you would be, how do you know that it was wrong?
It didn't get me the result I was looking for. So what I hear you saying is, even though it didn't get me the result I was looking for, perhaps it took me to the place I was supposed to be at that time.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Or maybe you didn't get there yet. So it could be a couple possibilities. Yeah.
So if you don't get to where you think you want to be, or you didn't get the answer you think you wanted, do you just keep asking your intuition the same question until you get there? Or how does that work?
Yeah, sometimes, we're all on this path for a reason. And even though you want something so badly, maybe that's not the right path that you're to be on. And so it's always going to steer you to that right path. So even though it's something that you might really want, if that's not your path for here on earth, then it might not get you there, but it's getting you to where you need to be.
Guess who just showed up? I must have been psychic. Max and Janetta Jones in the house. Hello, Sugar Bomb. Quick side story. Back in 2021 and early 22, I had another show called Carol's Craft Cocktails. We had a blast. We had a great fun show. And one day before it was on Wednesday evenings at 5:30. So Max sends me this picture. Max had her hair colored. Now, Max is this gorgeous Black woman. I mean, she's big, bold, brassy. Love her, right? But she had her hair colored. And she sends me this picture and she goes, Carol, you and I have the same color hair. And this is all going on in private message in Facebook. And I go, no, Max, we don't. And she goes, isn't yours called Sugar Bomb? And I said, no, it's not called Sugar Bomb. And that night she shows up to the cocktail show, and I told everybody about Sugar Bomb, and everybody on the show, they didn't call her Max. They called her Sugar Bomb. You remember that, Max? Sugar Bomb. She said, Malcolm Smith is in the house from Houston. Hello, Malcolm. He says Sugar Bomb. What a lovely term. More like cotton candy, Max. No, cotton candy is usually pink or blue. Oh my goodness. Tell us what one thing that happened to you from an intuition perspective that excited you the most or really jolted you into God, oh my God, I can do this. This is awesome.
So I just got out of college, and, you're in that phase of, I don't have any money. I need to find a job. What should I do? And my entire family was in Pittsburgh. No one has ever left that area. But the job I got, and it's the one I really wanted, was in Philadelphia. And so it was so hard for me because it was like, I'm going to be losing my family. I don't know. This is just such a big challenge that am I ready to take this on? I'm not going to know anybody. And I went with it. And so I moved to Philadelphia, but for like 2 years, I had so much guilt, and I went back to Pittsburgh a lot to visit my family. And now it's been like 20 years later, not to show my age, but now it was like the best decision I ever could have made. And if I would have went back, because I doubted it a lot in those first 2 years, and I was thinking about going back, but I don't think I ever would have gotten on this spiritual journey. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, which I love to do. So at the time, it was a big risk and a challenge, but I went with it because that's what I felt like I needed. And now it turned out to be the best thing, the best part of my life. So yeah, it was definitely, I'm so glad I went with my intuition there.
That's awesome. I love your energy behind all that. Guess where Max and Janetta Sugar Bomb Jones lives?
In Philadelphia?
Yes, she does.
Oh, awesome.
Max, meet Brandy. Brandy, yes. Meet Max.
That's great.
Aaron says, cocktail Wednesday nights were delicious. Thank you, Aaron. And Kathleen said, Carol even accommodated ginger ale for me. Yeah, Kathleen doesn't drink. And she's like, can you make something with something else? And I'm like, a mocktail? I'm going to have to look that up. Max says, yes, let's connect. I live in Philadelphia. That is awesome.
Yes.
Well, in the last few minutes that we have, I want you to tell people a little bit about your program, how they can connect with you. We're going to be running whatever link you provided for us. We're going to run it across the banner. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So they can just go to my website at brandyvan.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at brandyvan medium. But yeah, they can either purchase it right on the site. All the details are on there, or they can book a call with me. Even if it's someone who's like not sure if they want to get into the mentorship program, but they're looking for a like-minded community, someone that won't judge them. And so they don't have that fear of rejection or judgment. I've heard everything. I've gone through everything. There's nothing that someone's going to tell me that I would think that they're crazy. So if they just want someone to talk to, but the program is 90 days. And there's about 70 exercises. It's all on video. It's all written out. They have lifetime access to the content. And after 90 days, I can't guarantee that they're going to be a psychic or a medium, but if they keep doing these exercises, that at least gets them to the right point. Because a lot of these like little 1 hour classes are just little pieces of the puzzle. You don't have the whole puzzle. And so I have the whole puzzle for them, and a great place for them to start, especially if they're beginners and they just need that extra help. And then I also have bi-weekly Q&A calls, and they can reach out to me at any time with any question, because if you can't tell, I can talk about this stuff all day long, so they can always reach out to me anytime they want.
Now, when you say Q&A, do they get any private sessions with you during this 90-day time period?
Yes, so I actually have it as a group program and also one-on-one plus group. So that would be up to the individual if they want to do that.
But you find it's very effective in a group format as well.
Yes, the group is great because there isn't a very big like-minded community here. You can actually talk to people who are going through that same exact process that you are. So I love when someone's at the very beginning of the program and someone's like almost over with it, because that person at the beginning is kind of doubting themselves, and then they see the person who just finished the program and they can see where they can be led to. So it's always great to have a lot of people at different stages of the program in there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Before I close out the show, we try to keep it to a tight 30 minutes here. If you were going to leave the audience with one thought, just one thought, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to be open-minded. There is so much going on in this world. There's no way we would have an explanation for everything. And, you know, even 100 years ago, if someone would have said, oh, we're going to have the internet or we're going to have cell phones, they probably would have thought that person was crazy. So, you know, maybe someday all of this will come out as truth and fact. It's just not there yet. But yeah, just have an open mind about it.
What a great way to look at that. That's so true. I remember speaking with a gentleman, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 decades ago at some meeting, and he had had an opportunity to buy into, at a very low level, the very first cable network in the area. And his thought was, TV's free. Who's going to pay for TV? Right? My dad, many decades ago, had an opportunity to buy into the first McDonald's franchise.
Wow.
In Alexandria, Louisiana. It was the first one in Louisiana. And my dad was just not a risk taker. And he's like, what are franchises? What do you mean thousands of locations, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't do it. And I remember as an adult, he would talk about what a huge mistake that was. I mean, he would have been a multi-millionaire. That McDonald's, can I tell you, still does not have seating. It is the original McDonald's. You walk in this door, you walk through the line, get your food, and you walk out that door. Now they put a playground outside for you to sit in with your kids or whatever. There's no seating in it. So there's no overhead. I mean, it's just all profit from a building perspective. Yeah. But thank you so much for being here. Aaron says, you are a fabulous speaker, Brandy. Enjoyed your energy. Thanks for being such a bright light. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, Kathleen, I believe it was ginger ale and blackberries. We'll have to maybe crank up that cocktail show again. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If you're watching this on #replay, let us know, #replay. Reach out to Brandy. Like she said, no judgment. That's one of the things I teach with Empowering Questions, right? They take the judgment and the emotion out of the conversation and allow you to come from a place of curiosity. Join us next week right here every Wednesday, 3 p.m., where I never know who the guest is going to be till sometimes a little bit before the show. But it always makes it fun. I love showing up here. This has been the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. Come back and see us next week. And if you're ready to take the next step, reach out to Brandy when it comes to being an intuitive. And even though this is the Intuitive Entrepreneur, let's be honest, Max named this show because she's intuitive. So I think everybody's guiding me down that path. But I'm your leadership and sales empowerment coach. If you're ready to multiply your income, reach out to me. Blessings to each and every one of you. Go in peace. Make it a great week, and we'll see you next week.